Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Cafe Bagheri's kitchen. So, like me, you love Koobideh Kabob, but you may not have a grill outside. It's too cold winter time or heat of summer. You don't want to mess with grilling Koobideh outside. And guess what? Today, you and I are going to learn how to make Koobideh in the oven. Inside your kitchen, very easy and delicious. Stick around, let's make Koobideh in the oven. It's awesome. All right, the process to prepare the meat for Koobideh in oven is identical to regular Koobideh you do on grill outside. You select your meat. In this case, I'm using skirt steak, which Persians call wolvegah, is beef skirt steak. So it's the side of the animal. They call it flank steak also. And it has some fat, but not enough to be 20%. As you can see, there is some fat on this. So I would propose that we have about maybe 3 to 5% of fat here. So we have to augment that. We have to add enough fat so that the total weight of this is 20% fat and 80% red meat. I have some beef fat that came from a brisket I did about a month ago. I thawed it out of the freezer. This is about 200 grams, 210 grams of fat. So that makes it about 20% of the weight of this. One thing I'll tell you about grinding the meat, I know that not everyone has a meat grinder in the kitchen. You can get ground meat from your butcher or the meat section of your grocery store. And what you're gonna ask them is to please double grind it. A second grind is recommended for texture and consistency, and both for flavor. When you eat in it, it's got a better flavor because the fat and meat have had a better chance to integrate. If you have a food processor, you can use it, throw the beef in there and process it a little more. That would count as your second grind. Our meat is cut up in pieces. We're gonna cut the fat into the same size little cubes, about inch to half an inch in size, just like so. I use my KitchenAid mixer with an attachment. Always put your blade and parts of your grinder in the freezer or refrigerator about an hour ahead of using it. It needs to be all cold. All parts that are dealing with the meat need to be chilled, and that makes for a better cut of the meat, okay? So we're going on medium speed. We're gonna do 4 to 5 pieces of red meat for 1 piece of fat, and just go in. The first grind with a coarse plate, that's the plate with larger holes, is done. What I am going to do now is shred the onions, and then we're going to add it to the meat and do a second grind with a smaller plate, okay? For 2 pounds of meat, which is about 1 kilo, I have a medium to large onion. I've already skinned it and cut it in half. I use the coarse side of a box shredder into the bowl. The last bit of your onion is not worth losing a fingertip or a knuckle. You ask me, just save it for your soups and whatnot. So I'm gonna throw them away. Here, this is the second half of our onion.
He's crying.
Yeah. So we asked on a couple of the previous videos how to prevent tearing up when you shredding or cutting onions. There were many solutions commented and sent to me. And I did some online research. Find a way to keep the acid and the fumes away from your eyes. So have a fan somewhere nearby that pushes the air as it rises from the onion as you shred it, to basically not let it get to your eyes. Now we're going to get most of the juice out of it. When you're doing Koobideh in the oven, you do not have to watch for your kebab falling from the skewer into the fire because you have it on a pan in the oven. So the amount of moisture in the kebab is not as important at that point, but actually having more of the onion juice in your kebab makes sure that your kebab is not going to dry up in the oven. So you want to keep more of the juice in the onion, but not all of it, because texture is still important. Here's what you're doing. Just press on the onion shreds into a bowl. Okay, that should be enough. And actually, the juice that I've extracted, I am going to use with butter, saffron, and some spices as a basting sauce. At the end, we're going to baste our kebab for extra flavor and some extra moisture. Okay, now we are ready to put the shredded onions back in the meat and go for a second grind on the smaller plate. We're going to open up this guy. Okay, this is the finer plate that we're putting on there. Gonna all right. So we give this a little mix to get the onion and meat initially mixed a little bit. Then we're gonna send it through the grinder, little balls of that, and push them down like so. See, it's already finer here. You can see it's a finer grind. That was our second grind, and we are done with that. Look at this consistency. So I'm going to clean up the grinder later. We're gonna go right into the next step. Now we're going to add the spices to our Koobideh mix. So we got the meat and onion here. If you look at my original Koobideh video, it's very traditional, authentic, salt, pepper, and then the onion, that's it. I have jazzed this one up. We love this kind of more flavorful and peppy mix of spices. It's got some chipotle pepper and some paprika in addition to salt and pepper. And if you like even more heat, you can add some cayenne or red pepper or Aleppo pepper whatever heat you like, you can add to it. But this seems to jazz it up a little bit versus the authentic recipe. So I'm gonna put all of this. This is the recipes down below, and this is the right amount of spices for my taste. Again, test this recipe and see how you and your family like it. Now we're going to massage this somewhere between 5 to 8 minutes to get this well distributed, and the bits of fat need to actually start softening and melting into this whole mixture, which makes for a much better consistency and a better kebab. So just like if you were kneading your dough to make bread, just go under and above, and then turn the bowl. You can see the little bits of fat that were ground up are warming up, and they start kind of melting into the red meat and make a better distributed, kind of consistent mix. That's the importance of this kneading that we do for the mix. So it's been a little over 5 minutes, and look at this. See, it should be sticky and consistent. See that? See the consistency? This is what you're looking for. And it should just lift in one mass, and then you can short it up like that. And we're gonna cover this with saran wrap, put it in the fridge for somewhere between 2 hours to overnight. You can make this the day before. All right. So the Koobideh mix, the meat has been chilling in the fridge for over 2 hours. I took it out, I took the bowl out and massaged it some more, just kneaded it, because you need to reincorporate it, and then portion them into 8 balls. These are equally weighed, about 130 grams each, 8 of them. We have preheated our oven on broil, so I have lined my cookie sheet with some foil because I don't want to have to wash this. It's just better, easier cleanup. And I'll put this screen, this rack, as they call it here in the States, on this covered cookie sheet. And what I'm gonna do is we're gonna put the 8 Koobideh portions on this rack and cook it under a broiler in the oven. However, as you can tell, this is too long an object to go in a oven in your kitchen. What do we do? Now, honestly, if you had the ability to get a regular Koobideh skewer, cut it in the middle and sharpen the point and just have these half-length Koobideh skewers for indoor oven cooking of Koobideh, that would be perfect. And some people do that. However, we don't have that. What do? You want to simulate the heat that Koobideh needs from inside and out. But here's where it gets tricky. A lot of recipes for Koobideh in your oven, in your kitchen oven, use either bamboo skewers wrapped in foil or however, or they use these metal pointy skewers and just stretch down a portion of the Koobideh down this skewer and put it on a rack and cook it. That will give you cooked grilled meat in your oven. However, it won't cook from inside. Here's the solution. You're gonna get a piece of foil, it's your standard aluminum foil, like so, and get your standard Koobideh extra wide skewer and do this. So I have cut, as you can see here, 8 pieces of foil from my roll of aluminum foil, and I have 8 skewers. There you go. So what I'm gonna do is I have some hand water, abdast as they call it, you want to have some lukewarm water so that your hand won't stick to the meat. And what you're going to do is you're going to basically kind of re-massage each Koobideh ball like that. We're not going to bring it down from the top. Like so, you have two options. You either push the Koobideh skewer onto the meat portion or bring it down. Since we have this little sleeve on now, we're not going to do that. So we're going to go from the side and make sure there's an inch or two of the foil sleeve exposed up there, and just go. Make sure it doesn't fall off. Kind of hold it together and go down like that. If your hand starts sticking to the meat, use the little warm water bowl. For a 120, 130 gram portion, here's my kind of standard measuring device. I do one of these. Persians call it a bajab, V-A-J-A-B, which is a is a unit of measurement. I don't know where it came from the old world, 19th, 18th century or before. So one bajab, which is from the tip of your pinky to the tip of your thumb, is one bajab. You initially stretch it down without any form or design to measure about a bajab. Then what you do is you start putting markings, the traditional Koobideh markings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then make sure the ends are sealed. There you go. And then you just set it on your pan. And then that's your first Koobideh, right? Let's keep going. We're going to get our next foil, like so. And it's okay if things get a little messy. This is by nature kind of a messy business, but the results are going to be delicious. There you go. This is the next sleeve here. As you can see, now we get our next Koobideh ball. And just don't push the meatball onto your skewer here where the flap is. Turn it around and do it on the other side. That way it won't open up your aluminum sleeve. Hope you got that. Initially, it gets a little tricky to get this guy to adhere to the sleeve and to the skewer. But make sure all sides are pinched, and then you get some warm water on your hand and then push this down. So we're really doing nothing different here for Koobideh as far as this traditional Koobideh business goes. We're putting meat on a skewer, except you have a sleeve that allows you to do some magic later. I'll show you in a minute. There you go. So we keep pushing this down. Make sure you watch for this separating, because this foil on your skewer plays a little trick on the meat, and it tends to want to let go. You've seen this happen as you've seen me do these first two skewers. So watch out for that. As it separates, just push it on. Remember, you don't have to worry about this falling onto the fire when you start cooking it. So you have that going for you. Start measuring as you push down. Remember, each portion is the same size. So you can kind of develop a pattern. We're almost there. There. Get some more warm water on my hand. There you go. So yeah, this is the size we want. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. Make sure this doesn't separate. Pinch and seal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. Okay, before I go to the next 6 of them, here, check this out. Now I have this portion and this portion on skewers. Here. Now we have taken out the skewers and our Koobideh is ready to go in the oven for to meet the heat. Now what happens is, although the foil, aluminum foil core that's in the Koobidehs are very thin, but it's still metal. What happens is these ends will carry the heat inside of your Koobideh. That's why if you see someone doing Koobideh or Turkish Adana kebab or kofte or whatever, there's versions of this kebab from Morocco all the way to Afghanistan. I'm telling you, the Persian Koobideh is unique because we use this thick, hefty metal skewer in the center that picks up the heat from front and back and brings it inside and cooks the Koobideh from inside. Do not use these small pointy needle skewers or wooden skewers if you want delicious, well-cooked and balanced Persian Koobideh Kabob. You don't want that. So that's why I wanted to make that comparison. Is this ideal? Not really, but you don't have the outside grill. You want to cook in the inside oven and have great kebab with your rice and whatnot. This is the method. Now we're going to do the rest of them and cook them in the oven. All right, all 8 skewers have been put on the foil sleeves, as I call them. I'm gonna make a little cleanup here. What we're gonna do is, it's very important because we're broiling at a high temperature, 500. And before I put it in there, I'm gonna tell you, put the rack in the middle, don't get it too close to the heat source up top. 500, I know most home ovens can go to 550 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever Celsius that is. You keep turning them once every 2 to 3 minutes. That is the time and the distance from the heat source, and even the temperature depends on your particular oven in your home. What I suggest is do one of these skewers to test, maybe once or twice. Once you get it right, you're gonna have perfect Koobideh in the oven every single time. So it's important to have some moisture in your oven because you don't want a dry, rubbery kebab. So I'm gonna put this on the shelf under my kebab right here. You see, I have this shelf in the middle. The oven is preheated at 500 degrees on broil setting. Okay? So we're gonna go in the oven right now at 500 degrees in 3-minute increments, about 4 to 5 of them. We're at first 3-minute marker. The kebabs need to be turned at this time. Look at this. So we're gonna grab, be careful not to burn yourself, but they're not gonna be very hot because these are thin metal. 1, 2, 7, 8, right? we're going to go for another 3-minute increment. We have just finished our second 3-minute stretch in the oven, and we're gonna turn the Koobideh one more time. The tomatoes are, as you can see, are splitting. We have some juice coming off of the kebab. So let's, and again, try not to burn yourself. Kebab is looking juicy and cooking real well. Tomatoes are cooking. If you want to have more tomatoes for extra people, you can put another pan under, and then once you remove your kebabs, give the tomatoes another few minutes to get some char on them. Look at this, it's already looking great. And we're gonna go for our third 3-minute stretch. It's about 3 to 5 of these 3-minute stretches, depending on your oven, okay? All right, a total of 15 minutes, broiling under 500-degree oven. Our kebab is ready and oh so tasty looking. Look at this. Look at this. Be careful, there is hot oil and juices at the bottom of this tray. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? Check this out. Wonderful. So what I have is I have some basting sauce. We call it Kareh Taub. I'll give you the recipe for this, or your favorite mix of butter, saffron, whatever spices you like. A little bit of acid, lime or lemon juice, or sour grapes, verjuice or Bagheri, as Persians call it, would be very good. So we baste this right before you take it to the table for your guests or for your family. This will jazz it up, it'll make it look better, and give it a shot of saffron and butter and a little bit of acid that you have in there. Let me show you how you get this off the skewer. And again, you serve this kebab with your favorite flatbread. Serve it with my Persian rice and a little bit of salad. Shirazi salad goes very well with this. Look at this. You just release one end and just push it off just like you would regular Koobideh from a skewer. And you see this separation that happens because the kebab just contracted when it was in the oven. No problem. Just when you push it off, you put it back together and it looks beautiful. Let's do just one more for good measure right here. I'm going to release one end. Let's put some more tomatoes on the other side and we are ready to go. You can have extra flatbread, lavash. Doesn't that smell wonderful? Yeah, the camera lady can't wait to get into this. This is our Koobideh in the oven, and it's awesome. It spares you from going out in the heat or cold, grilling outside. You can do it inside. And please make this at home and tag me on your posts on Instagram at Cafe Bagheri. Thank you for being with me here today. And if you liked what you saw, please like this video. And just on the outside chance that you're not a subscriber yet, you may want to click the subscribe button and hit that little bell button so you can get notifications when fancy stuff happens around here, okay? And please take care of each other and enjoy good food. And I look forward to seeing you right here very soon at Cafe Bagheri. And I'm going fast because I can't wait to get my hands on this Koobideh. Time to try some Koobideh. I'm gonna leave this to enjoy with my videographer lady for dinner in a few minutes, but I can't wait to just dig in and have one off the skewer right like that. Look at this, see? Very juicy, very tender. You want to bite? No? This is righteous. You need to make this. Tag me on your pictures, okay? Yum.